Red light therapy is everywhere now. You can buy a device on Amazon for $60, or walk into a spa and get a session for $80, or spend thousands of dollars at a clinic that promises it will repair your damaged hearing. And if you have hearing loss, I understand why that gets your attention. You're not looking for a gadget, you're looking for the thing that might give you back what you lost. Clear conversations, fewer moments of just nodding along and pretending that you caught what was said. So when someone says red light therapy can reduce hearing loss, of course you're going to be interested in that. But this is exactly why we have to slow things down, because red light therapy is a perfect example of something I see all the time in healthcare. The science is interesting, but the marketing has sprinted miles ahead of the evidence.
If you're navigating hearing loss or struggling with ringing in your ears, then you've come to the right place. The All Ears Hearing and Tinnitus podcast is your go-to source for expert insights, real stories, and cutting-edge solutions in hearing health. We'll dive into the latest advancements in hearing healthcare, explore groundbreaking treatments for tinnitus, and offer practical tips for better hearing. Here to help you tune into a world of better hearing, here's your host from Timpanogos Hearing and Tinnitus, Dr. Layne Garrett.
I'm Dr. Layne Garrett, founder of Timpanogos Hearing and Tinnitus in Utah. I've been treating hearing loss and tinnitus for over 20 years. Today, I'm going to give you an honest look at what the research actually shows. Not what the red light companies want you to believe, but what controlled studies have actually found. I believe patients deserve the truth, even when the truth is we don't know the answer yet. First, why does red light therapy even seem plausible for hearing loss? Because there is a real biological mechanism being proposed. This isn't pure fantasy. The cochlea, that snail-shaped structure in your inner ear, converts sound into electrical signals, is one of the most energy-demanding tissues in your entire body. The hair cells inside it run on ATP, essentially cellular fuel produced by mitochondria. When those hair cells are damaged by noise, aging, or medications, mitochondrial function often declines. Red light therapy works by delivering specific wavelengths of light, usually 600 to 900 nanometers, to tissues. The proposed mechanism here is that this light energy gets absorbed by the mitochondria and stimulates ATP production. More cellular energy, the theory goes, means better functioning cells. And if the cochlea's hair cells get more energy, maybe they can recover from damage or at least stop declining so quickly. That's not a crazy idea. It's why researchers started looking into this in the first place. The problem is the plausible mechanism and actual clinical evidence are two very different things. Now, let's look at the research, because this is where the hype really starts falling apart. Most of the positive data on red light therapy and hearing comes from animal studies, and those results really are interesting. A 2024 systematic review in clinical otolaryngology analyzed 16 animal studies alongside the available human data. The animal studies, mostly on rats and mice and some guinea pigs, generally showed that photobiomodulation at longer wavelengths, around 808 to 830 nanometers, produced measurable improvements in hearing outcomes, particularly after noise-induced damage. From a research standpoint, that's worth noting. Animal models help us understand biological mechanisms and tell us which treatments are worth testing in humans. But animals don't buy these devices, people do. And there's a critical problem the device marketing conveniently skips over. The cochlea sits much closer to the surface in rodents than it does in humans. In people, it's buried deep in the temporal bone, one of the hardest bones in the skull. Getting adequate light energy to actually penetrate to the human cochlea is a significant biological problem that most consumer devices are almost certainly not solving. So let's talk about humans, because that's what matters for your decisions here. That same 2024 systematic review found exactly one randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial on photobiomodulation for hearing loss in humans. One, with just 30 subjects. The results? No statistically significant improvement in hearing. One trial, 30 people, no benefit. That's the entire controlled human evidence base for red light therapy restoring hearing. Everything else is animal models, theoretical mechanisms, and marketing. Now, the tinnitus picture is slightly more complicated, and I need to be precise here, because the industry often blurs hearing loss and tinnitus together. A November 2025 systematic review published in Curious, which separated 4 major medical databases through September 2025, found that some tinnitus studies did show short-term reductions in severity of tinnitus, and a few showed better results than the placebo. That's worth acknowledging. But the same review found that those benefits consistently diminished in about 3 months. And there's also a deeper issue when we're talking about tinnitus research specifically. Tinnitus is notoriously susceptible to placebo effect. It's driven partly by how much attention the brain pays to the signal, which means expectation and hope can produce real feeling short-term relief even when that treatment isn't doing anything biologically. Controlled trials with sham devices matter a lot for this condition, and across those controlled results, the results were mixed at best. The pattern I see here: someone comes in after spending hundreds or thousands of dollars on red light therapy, using a device or a series of clinical sessions, something they found online. They were told it would restore their hearing. Their tinnitus might have felt a little better initially, their measured hearing, unchanged. They usually come in holding a printout or showing me a website on their phone and asking why it didn't work. And here's the thing I tell them: feeling like something changed and proving that hearing improved are not the same thing. Testimonials measure experience. Controlled trials measure outcomes. When those two things point in different direction, the trials are going to win. When I look at what's being marketed, I see sites claiming 95% success rates for red light therapy reversing hearing loss. No published control trial supports that, not even close. That kind of number doesn't come from research. It comes from companies trying to sell you something. So what can you actually do with this information? First, don't spend significant money on red light therapy and expect it to restore your hearing. The evidence does not support that claim, and any clinic or website telling you otherwise is running way ahead of the science in ways that should make you feel very skeptical of anything else they say. Second, if you're primarily dealing with tinnitus rather than hearing loss, the picture is a little murkier. If you've already worked through evidence-based approaches like sound therapy or cognitive behavioral therapy, and you're still curious about the safety profile, just go in with realistic expectations, not the hope that you found the cure. Third, if you have hearing loss, the most evidence-supported treatment remains properly fitted hearing aids that were verified with real ear measurements. I realize that sounds predictable coming from an audiologist, but this isn't about defending hearing aids. It's about comparing treatments based on the quality of evidence behind them. Decades of controlled research versus one human trial showing no benefit, that's not even a close comparison. Before spending money on any hearing treatment, ask 3 questions. Has this been tested in controlled human trials? Was it compared against placebo or sham devices? And did it actually improve measured hearing, not just how people felt about it? If the answer to any of those is no or not clear, that's your signal to slow things down a little bit. Now, the future might look different. Researchers are actively studying red light therapy, and the mechanisms are real enough to keep investigating. But where we stand right now in 2026, the evidence for red light therapy restoring human hearing just isn't there. Have you looked into red light therapy for your hearing or tinnitus? Drop a comment. I want to know what you found and whether what you were told matched what the research actually shows. If you've been sorting through claims about red light therapy, supplements, sound therapy, hearing aids, or linear, and trying to figure out what's real, I've put together a free learning center with breakdowns of treatments that have actual evidence behind them. You can find a link in the description. And if you're here in northern Utah and want your hearing evaluated by someone who will give you a straight answer, not a sales pitch, you can schedule an appointment in one of our clinics along the Wasatch Front. There's a link for that in the description as well.